staff spinning for beginners. You're going to start with your staff in one hand, and you're going to turn it from side to side. And stretch out the forearms here. And start to warm everything up. It's also going to build power in your grip and in your forearms especially. Now, if you have a heavy staff, you want to go slow at first. If it's a lighter staff, you can go faster. But listen to your body as you do this warm-up turn. Put it into your other hand, palm facing the sky, and you're going to do the same thing. Just going side to side, just twisting. You want to keep your body safe from injury as you do this easy staff spinning workout for beginners. After doing this for about 30 seconds, you're going to bring it from one hand to the other hand. Your pinkies will come together, palm faces the sky, and you just turn it out. Hello, Studer. It's good to see you. Going side to side. I'm starting out with my Joe, the medium-sized staff. Just gives me a little bit more room to spin here in the garage dojo. As you go from side to side, you're going to get a better stretch. You get more power in your forearms with this warm-up turn. Once you've warmed up this way, take your hand to the side and turn it this way. Seventh Son Steve-O, good to see you tonight. Welcome. We're just doing an easy martial arts spinning for beginners workout. I want you to master the basics. If you can master the basics, you'll be good at all the intermediate and the advanced stuff, whether it's the tricks or the flow. You want to learn self-defense with your staff. You'll be very strong and powerful in your forearms because of this turning. Holding it out to the side like this wakes up the muscles in the back of the shoulder, strengthens those, gives you more control over your staff. Third thing I'm going to have you do is put it overhead and twist it in the same way, side to side. You should feel your forearms start to burn a little bit. Your shoulders will burn a little bit. If you're a beginner, you haven't done this a lot, you're going to feel you get very strong shoulders from all your staff spinning. Once you've done it one hand, bring it over to that other hand, twisting and turning. Get the other hand up, leave it up as a habit. Always guard your head. Once you've done this for 30 seconds, you're going to start to go hand to hand again. So pinkies together, turn it out. Your palm is facing your body or your face. Turning it out from one side to the other side. Now you should be warmed up here. You're going to hold it first in your right hand. Put your right foot forward. You're going to lead with your thumb as you carve your figure eight motion. Pull your stomach up and in, abs tight. Endless spin or infinity spin, also known as a figure eight, comes to the outside of your body and the inside of your body. And if you think of just popping your thumb up in the air and carving that sideways, just trace it. That sideways figure eight, one side to the other. Do this one for 30 seconds. Bring the other hand behind to take it, pinky to pinky, palms up. Mike, good to see you here. One side, the other, stomach up and in, abs tight. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Master the basics. Go back into your first hand, put it to the side of your body like when you were doing the turning. And this time do your figure eight infinity spin, coming to the front and the back of your body. The same exact motion as this, just in a different plane. You're going to find that this builds a lot of power in your shoulders. Pull your stomach up and in, abs tight, keep your chin tucked a little bit, other hand up. Don't worry about where your feet are doing. Just keep your feet under your body. Put it in the other hand. Pull it in and out, side to side. I'll show you from the side here. Simple motion. The whole time I want you squeezing your belly. That's going to give you more speed on your turn, on your spins. Once you've done that, hello, G. Carlton. Good afternoon. It's good to see you. G. Carlton says it's been seeing a lot of knife attacks in the UK. Obviously, there's a big one in the news right now. A young person attacked a bunch of innocent little children and took their lives. Makes me sick. It makes me angry. So many different levels. I'm sure that's your point. You know, a staff, a stick is a good tool to use. It has some reach advantage over a bladed weapon. You can smash somebody, move them back using your staff. Getting all the spinning, building power in your forearms allows you to have stronger strikes, allowing you to stop somebody in the act trying to hurt you or your family. Now, the next spin, before I get too distracted, the next spin, I'm going to put you back in your right foot forward, right hand, and instead of pushing down, I want you to pull up. So you're doing the same figure eight spin or infinity spin, but in the reverse. Get your other hand up, stomach up and in. I'm traveling tomorrow through Sunday. When I get back next week, I've got a few videos planned. We're going to talk about how to stay safe on the streets. Different tools you can use. What happens if you don't have a tool? How to use your hands, your elbows, your knees, your fists, your palms to stay safe from violent attacks. Right now, this is more of a therapeutic spin. Now, with Bruno D, if you are in Great Britain, you can't carry a gun. You can't carry a gun in most places in the world. Most places you can't even carry a stick. So that solution might work here if you're even qualified. Not everybody can carry it here either. And then you can't carry it everywhere. I had that conversation today at lunch. Question was asked, well, can you bring it? What happens if you bring it in a place where you're not allowed? And so, you know, if there's a metal detector, you can't bring it those places, obviously. Other places where it's posted that you're not allowed to have it. That's your own discretion, which could be in violation of laws. You can't bring it into, we're going to an event this weekend in a major city. There'll be magnetometers, metal detectors everywhere. I can't bring in the self-defense tool that I bring. I can't bring in stick, not this long. I'll bring my pocket stick though, that's for sure. So once you do this pulling, the front of your body and the side, then do the same thing you did before, pulling it to the front and the back of your body. That's why I'm such a strong advocate of learning how to fight with sticks. Because you can't just carry a firearm everywhere you go. You should be able to use more than a firearm in self-defense. Most people can't who carry them. So get more training for those non-permissive environments like a plane, airport, courthouse, your kid's school. All the schools down here in Florida now have to have, public schools have to have metal detectors. You can't get in. And of course, the obvious part of that discussion is the bad guys. They're not following the rules. So how can you be a good guy and keep your family safe and keep yourself safe? Learn how to fight with every tool available. Use your belt. Learn how to use a flashlight. Learn how to use a pin or a marker. All right, now you've done your figure eight spins, forward and backward. I want you to go back into the right foot forward with your right hand going forward, and when you bring it to your left side, your left hand is going to slide in behind your right, take it, pull it over, take your right hand and bring it in over here. Yeah, Bruno says there are loads of guns in the UK. That's true, but good people, the law-abiding citizens, they're not allowed to have them. Going side to side. Same thing's true in Australia. Same thing's becoming very much true in Canada. Same thing's true in New Zealand, Spain, France. A lot of places in the West, they've taken the rights from the law-abiding citizens. It seems like some places they're empowering the criminals. How do you train to defend yourself? You can start to step with this one. I like to walk forward a little bit, walk backward a little bit. Sometimes when my hip feels good, I'll go for a little jog. But it just helps you to get more confident in your spins when you're learning how to do spinning a staff as a beginner. Even this easy spin, you're just doing the same thing in reverse. And this time, when you bring it to the right side, the left hand comes on the front. Good, Bruno. I love that. Bruno says he's been doing Jeet Kune Do for years, believes in his skills. Absolutely. That's the benefit of all of that training, accumulation of ability and skill and experience, timing, distance, speed, power, balance, coordination, knowledge. Martial arts can be a beautiful thing in so many ways, but building confidence, one of the best, young or old. Give yourself the gift of skill, because you do a little bit every day and you never give up, you never quit. Bring your hand, when you do the reverse, the hand comes in the front. Pull it out and bring it over to the front. Now bring it back over your head in your right hand again. And I want you to turn it out like you started, and then drop it behind your back. Turn your thumb up, take it with your left hand, pull it up, turn it palm facing back, take it with the right, go behind the back, bring it up. What you're doing behind the back, I'll turn around so you can see it. You're going to take your hand under. When it comes out, drop it, put it under. When you change and go the other way, then now the right hand is going to come under the left. Just go overhead, behind the back. Two simple motions. The key to not hitting yourself is that when you bring it down, you don't turn it. You turn it when it's behind your back. And the second key is that when you bring it up, you don't turn it. You turn it over your head. So if you keep the turns overhead and behind the back, you're less likely to hit yourself in the calf when you bring it down, and the head when you bring it up. The other part about not hitting your head is not bending your elbow. Sometimes as a beginner, you'll bend your elbow, whack yourself pretty good. So you want to push it up really high. Big Red Vet asked why I'm not in the gym anymore. In January, I closed the school because I knew I was having a hip replacement in March and I wouldn't be able to teach. I don't have any assistants down here. In Ohio, I had built a really big school for about 30 years and had a lot of instructors. We moved down here, I started over from scratch, really tiny school, just a few students. So I had to close it because I'm paying, $3,000, $4,000 a month just for rent. I can't let it just sit empty. So my landlord found me another tenant, closed it, had my hip done, was going to reopen soon. Then I had a heart attack. Now I have to wait. I just had a clearance on Friday to get the other hip done. That'll happen in another couple months. So the reason I'm not in the dojo, I'm in the garage dojo, is because I don't have the school right now. Everything's in storage. All the mats, all the bags, Well, when you drop it, you got to pick it up, all the gear. That's what happens when you get distracted. All right. But don't be afraid to drop your staff. Drop it over and over, and then pick it up. All right, bad boy, you keep putting those in there, I'm going to just bounce you. You're going to take your hand. This next beginner, easy to learn beginner skill is going to be a butterfly spin. You turn it over, up. Big Red Warrior, thank you for those prayers. I'll take every prayer as I get. I love praying. I pray a lot. I believe in prayer. I had my heart attack on Good Friday. 3 days later, I was in the hospital celebrating Easter. My wife taking care of me, bringing stuff in. And I was realizing how fortunate I was. It was a blood clot from the hip replacement. Plus, I got the cough, Fauci flu, causes blood clots, and went to the heart. And I'm fine. Other than that, it was just a little bit of a fluke. But now I got to slow everything down. I was hoping to have the other hip done in May. I'll be the Bionic Man, kicking, grappling, spinning, open the school back up. So your palms are facing up. This is why they call it butterfly spin. You make this little butterfly with your hands, and you turn it up. Bad boy, I'll show you how to fight with the staff. Give me a couple of seconds here. Studer, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. The spinning is not fighting by itself. Now, with a Joe staff, you can strike with that spin. So the way you strike with this spin on the Joe staff, it's the same figure eight that we were doing at the beginning that you would do with the longer staff. In fact, grab the longer staff. This is the bow. Studer, thank you so much for that generous super chat sticker, super sticker. You come side to side, and that's how you use the bow. The bow staff is longer, heavier, and hits a lot harder. You have a lot more reach with that. You put it somewhere it's not going to fall. But with the fell anyway. The Joe, which is about 54 inches, in this case, is the elbows bent, and you hold it this way. You have the ability to smash him in the face with it, just by like you're doing a punch. From here, you bring this hand straight up into his face. You can bring this in, hit him one, pull it back, and then turn. Just push your punch over, thumb facing the sky. That pops the back side, the long side up against the side of his head for self-defense. You can also bring it back and hit the other side of his body. And so this spin using the Joe, or the shorter staff, the medium staff, turns into striking later. This spin using the bow or the longer staff is not for striking. If you were to use this staff or the long staff, you would point your thumb and then thrust. So this motion from here, you're standing behind it, the threat's over here. Point my thumb at the threat that pops it into your backhand, and then simply pushing. And you'll see that when you do that, you're turning your hand over, which locks out that elbow, so that when you do hit him, your body will move back with it, but you're not going to collapse your hands. You're not going to hit him and have it come back at you. You're going to turn your hand over. Bottom hand also turns over this way. So you're standing behind your staff, and this works with the 8-foot or the 6-foot bow or the 54-inch Joe, or however tall yours is. Point your thumb, step and thrust. Just like a boxer's jab, you take that front foot. The front foot comes in on the jab, you turn it over, pop him in the chin, and step and thrust. From here, using this or any other staff, the backhand now comes in with a punch into the side of his face for self-defense. So you point, thrust, and then using the long side on the back, almost like a straight punch or reverse punch coming into his face, that forces this long piece to come and hit him, temple, jaw, neck maybe. Maybe he's reaching out with that knife, smash that knife out of his hand, and then using the backhand, like you're chopping down a tree, you can bring the backside now in with a lot of force, as much force as you can, smashing him, his forehead, jaw, neck, maybe that hand again, maybe into his clavicle, breaking his clavicle. From here, you start with that thrust. You can bring the backside straight up. Think about coming up between his legs, hitting him in the groin, up under his chin, his tongue sticking out. You smash his teeth together, tongue comes off. Some good DNA for law enforcement to pick up. Smashing here, you can smash straight down on the top of his head. You can pull it in. 2 hands, this large bar. This one's made out of hickory. This is a fighting staff, by the way. This one and my bow that I use for this instruction are both Cane Master staffs in their walking stick collection, but they're made out of hickory. Extremely dense wood. They hit really hard, and they're very powerful. Yeah, Stuart says loves the stick check. Amen. But if you look in the description, you'll see basically what they cost and what the lengths are and all that stuff. And you can have them all customized. These hand grips also will rip skin if you need to, and it's for self-defense. Traditionally, a Joe or a Bo wouldn't have these grips because you do a lot of motions like this, where you're sliding and you're changing positions and you're coming through and your hands are sliding by each other. And they might even slide. You might bring your hand all the way to the end of your Joe and bring it through this way, accelerating the strike. And so those traditionally wouldn't be on there, but you can get used to that. I've gotten used to that. Thank you, Bad Boy. He asked me to show some of these techniques for self-defense. Those are just a few of many. There are a lot of great techniques. If someone grabs your staff, where you would then lock your hand to your hip so that as he's pulling against your body weight. Your hands are away from your body and he pulls it. This is true for the cane too. I saw G. Carlton says he's practicing with the Hanbo and the Joe. Silent Walk says walking with a cane for injury. Yeah, and you can use this with a cane too, is my point. So all these techniques work with cane, walking stick, the Hanbo, which is the walking stick size, 36 inches, or the Joe. If he were to grab your staff and he's pulling on it, and your hands are out here, you're going to get in a tug of war. So you want to lock this hand here so that he's pulling against your body. And then you go in when he pulls back, using his momentum pulling you, that energy, and then make a small circle with your whole body, your hips and your shoulders, which is harder for him to control with just his arms, because your hips and your shoulders, your whole body is bigger than his arm, which is how martial arts work. And you turn and then you smash him down and then you step in, and there's that thrust again, going through his teeth, going through his nose, through his throat for self-defense. All right, butterfly spin. Wrist to wrist, one hand that's on top with the thumb opening so that the other one so it can slide into your palm. Then the bottom one gets out of the way, turns it down. Some kid from Britain asked, am I in the garage? Yes, I'm in the garage, and I'm in southern Florida, and it is hot. It is so hot in this garage. It's like 92 degrees outside. It's probably about 120 degrees in here. That may be an exaggeration, but it's hot. I'm pouring sweat. Yeah, it's not that big of a garage compared to some of the garages down here. I live in the world of stars, athlete stars, old money, hedge fund managers, billionaires. And there's some houses around here. Our house is a postage stamp pin head compared to some of these houses that my house could fit in one of their garage bays. That's how big some of these houses are down here. Not in my neighborhood. And our house is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's nice. It's spacious for us. It's just the right size. It's not anything super big. And then compared to where we just got back from in Nicaragua, we live like kings. I try to remind my children all the time to be very grateful for what we do have, because we have so much more than so many people. The key is here, when you do this, yeah, it is big for the UK, except for I stayed in the garage, carriage house of my mentor's castle in it's up in Scotland, north of Manchester. I can't think of the town now. And he has this he just ran for parliament, which is kind of funny, or city council or something. His name's Dan Pena, but he lives in this castle, and I was his guest. He invited me to this course that he teaches as his guest, and it was like 8 days, so intense. But my point is, his garage in the UK is massive. So it depends on where you are. There are plenty of wealthy people all over the world. So anyway, Abba Goo broth. Amen. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of where Dan is in up near the coast. Beautiful country. I mean, I loved such a beautiful country. It's got a bunch of the original. It's William Wallace was brought back to Scotland to fight the English, I think. They sent Laird Guthrie. So it's Guthrie Castle. Laird Guthrie's old castle. You know where that is. I have no idea where that is. All right, yeah. So you're going to get big forearms with spinning. You get all this spinning. The next exercise I'm going to show you goes through the fingers. And that's really going to build your forearms. You're going to get really strong. Fade says, hey guys, remember to like. I really appreciate that reminder. Thank you for that. So by spinning the staff, you're exercising the extensors and the flexors. If you just spin the staff with your hand closed, it's just the flexors, you're just the squeezing muscles. You also want the opening muscles so that you can, and tendons, so that you don't get the carpal tunnel in your, or not the carpal tunnel, that too, but you don't get the tendonitis, your tennis elbow. You're going to avoid that. And if you don't do this, you'll probably, if you do enough spinning with your staff, you will get tightness in there and then pain in your elbow. But if you do this, I've learned that the pain goes away. Angus, Scotland. Yeah, that's very, very close, I think. Angus sounds right. Still remember the final night, graduation, he had a local reenactor come, or somebody who's some official from the city, who addressed the haggis and stabbed it with his short sword after yelling at it in some Gaelic for about 15 minutes. It was pretty cool. And all the steam comes out. And the haggis tasted really good. I always thought I wouldn't like it as much as I did. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it'll burn these forearms out for sure, Stu. Thank you. Yeah, Silent Walk says builds great strength in forearms. So once you get the wrist roll and, oh, we didn't do the wrist roll. We did the butterfly spin. I want to do the wrist roll. I want you to open your hand. These are still easy to learn beginner moves. This one will seem hard at the beginning, but then once you get it, you're like, oh, that was pretty simple. It's all about opening your hand and letting it balance on the back of your hand. Now it's sliding a lot because I'm super sweaty. But once it gets here, you're just turning your hand over to catch it. So this is your pinky side. You're turning to the pinky side. Open the hand and allow it to balance there. Turn your hand to catch it, and then bring it back the other way. Open the hand, turn it over. So you're going pinky side to thumb side. You just do a little bit at a time. You do this every day, 5 minutes. Even if you struggle with it, after 2 weeks, I guarantee the wrist roll will seem super easy. You'll have a new skill. Once you get your wrist roll down, you can go back to your figure 8 spin and then do wrist rolls on the sides of the body. And you can add in finger rolls on the same side. So this is my left hand. When I come to my left, I do my finger roll. Come to your right, do your wrist roll. And you can also do the reverse spin, doing the wrist roll to wrist roll. And you can even do a reverse finger roll, but I haven't done it so long, it takes a lot to rewire your brain. But if you want to practice the reverse finger roll, just start from the bottom. You might need your other hand to keep from dropping it, and then go back to the top. So that's just the reverse wrist roll. Mine is super sloppy because I haven't done it for so long, but challenge yourself. Anything that forces you outside of your comfort zone forces you to grow. Yeah, Silent Walk says dropped it a good many times getting that one down. You'll drop it over and over and over. And the only reason I'm not dropping it as much is I'm not going fast. And so I'm not really pushing myself because I want to show you how to do these things. And I've done it for a long time. So once you've done it for a long time, you won't drop it as much for sure. You'll still drop it though. So do those basic moves. Start with the turning, go from hand to hand, go to your figure 8, do each one for 2 to 3 minutes a day. Spend 8 to 10 minutes on these skills. In 2 weeks, you'll start to master the basics. You can master the basics of the bow or the jo or any staff, then all the intermediate and all the other skills like throws and catches and around the neck and around the back, all the other things that you'll learn tricks wise will be easier. Now, none of these, like I said before, are really designed for self-defense, but by spinning, you'll do three things. One, I see it as a moving meditation. So it's a great stress reliever. It's especially once you get good at it and you start to flow and make up your own different combinations and stuff, then it'll feel good and it helps relieve stress. Two, it's going to get your heart rate up a little bit. So it's going to work like a cardiovascular workout. Faster you go, you'll start to add some stepping into it. I'll show you how to turn, go behind the back. I'll show you how to spin your whole body around, spin the staff around your body, spin your body around the staff. And then once you're able to do those things, you start to sweat a little bit more. So it becomes a great workout. You start to lean out. And three, you learn timing and distance and spatial awareness. Those three things are so important for self-defense, for fighting, for any kind of martial arts, any kind of self-defense. Timing, distance, and self-defense. Those three things are spatial awareness. Those three things, if you master them as you get older, those can mitigate your loss of speed, your loss of power. So in other words, the kid might be younger, faster, stronger, better in so many ways because he's 18, 19 who's attacking you, but because you have the knowledge and you're older and you have good timing, distance, and spatial awareness, you can do things that he can't do. And you're going to overcome his youth and his vitality and his power and his ignorance because he doesn't know enough. You're going to know enough because you've done the basics a little bit at a time. And that's what I believe. You know, as we get older, you have to really rely on technique, skill, and knowledge and understanding. And you get that by doing just a little bit every day, a little bit every day. Your confidence grows. You get that experience. And then before you know it, you have skills that can really protect yourself and somebody else, especially with the world going crazy right now and seeming to be falling apart everywhere. You want to have some skills to keep your mind healthy, relieve that stress from seeing the news and hearing all the crazy stories all the time. You want to have the skills to physically defend yourself for when society starts to tear, the fabric of society gets torn here and there and stumbles and falls, and you have to become your own first responder because, and then there's a big difference. I am a security professional, a self-defense and security professional. That's what I do in my daytime job. And there's a massive difference between law enforcement and security. And security is about prevention and protection. Law enforcement is about respond and serve and protect and all that stuff. But they come after the event is either starting or happened or is already over with. But if you become security minded, self-defense minded, you think about how can I develop the skills and the training and use the tools necessary, learn how to use the tools that can defend and protect myself, my family, my dignity, my freedom, the people around me, the innocent people who need it. Those 3 innocent little girls, plus the other ones. There were more than just the 3 who passed, but there were more girls who were attacked in that dance school at the Taylor Swift party or whatever it was, with the young man who, for whatever reason, did what he did. And we want to be protectors in our community. We want to stand up and stand for something. And even if it's just having the confidence to speak the truth to evil and to the evil forces that are coming at us right now, and be able to stand up and say, no, I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm not gonna turn a blind eye anymore. I'm not gonna hold my tongue. I'm gonna speak up truth. And we need to be leading, especially those of us who are older. We need to be the examples for the young people, especially the youngest generation who haven't had good examples, which is our fault because we allowed our kids to grow up and told them they were wonderful and special and they could do no wrong and everything's perfect. We allowed our schools to fall apart. We allowed our schools to be infiltrated by the enemy and allowed men to box in women's Olympic boxing. We're letting that happen right now. Everybody's outraged by it, that a man from Algeria punched the Italian fighter in the face and so hard that she had to quit. And we're all outraged, but who's stopping it? Where are the men who can step in and force the change that has to happen? And so we need to learn, we need to do this training, we need to do these things and learn how to take our rights back. And our right for self-defense comes from God. And as soon as we understand that, we start to speak that and we believe in that, then we won't turn our blind eye to all this ridiculousness that's happening. and say, well, somebody else is going to take care of it, or I don't want to get in trouble for speaking up, or that's not my place to say. They can have their own, they can do their own thing. And they can live their own life until a man is punching a woman in the face in the Olympics. And it's making a mockery of all of us that grew up loving the Olympics for our entire life, right? That's why I got into martial arts. Two things got me into martial arts. One, I did judo as my first martial art, and I saw the judo in the Olympics. I wanted to be a judoka. I wanted to go to the Olympics in judo, and I wanted to go in taekwondo. And then I got to a school with an Olympic coach, and all my friends were Olympic hopefuls or were on the team, fought in the original Olympics. And I trained with those guys and girls, and the girls fought girls and the guys fought guys. And then Karate Kid, where you had Mr. Miyagi, who stood for something, who did the right thing no matter what, and told his student, you got to do the right thing no matter what. We need to bring that back. Anyway, you get that from training because it builds your confidence, it builds your voice, it tells you, you learn about what's right, and you start to speak what's right. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. Thanks again, Studer. And when I get back from this trip, next week will be all self-defense. We're going to talk about self-defense tools, what you can do if somebody has a blade, what you can do if you're caught by surprise, how do you keep yourself safe. And I have some executive protection specialists coming on. We're going to talk to them about how you become your own executive protection specialist, and you become the head of a security detail for your own family and for yourself. And then Tim Miller's back. He's I don't know if you've noticed, Tim Miller, a friend of the channel, he's been on a lot of the news channels since the thing that happened in Bethel, Pennsylvania a few weeks ago. He's a former Secret Service cop, retired colonel from the Marine Corps. And so he's been on a lot of different news channels as their expert. So he's been super busy, but next week he's going to be on this channel. We're going to be talking again. How do you keep your family safe? How do you keep yourself safe with what's coming? Because there's a lot of craziness coming this summer. Anyway, you guys have been awesome, and I will see you next time.